Today we're learning about the properties of math. Our objective is that I can identify the mathematical properties used in problems. Now, for this lesson, you're actually going to have to get out a piece of paper and you're going to draw some of these pictures out that I have kind of associate with the properties. You're actually going to be kind of taking some notes here with the video. So if you need to pause the video to go get some paper and a pencil, do that now. Our first property is the commutative property. So on your paper, I want you to write commutative property. You don't have to copy this next part here, but this is kind of the mathematical way that they write out the definition. For addition, it's A plus B equals B plus A. You're just using letters in place of any number. So for example, it could be 3 plus 4 equals 4 plus 3. And this is something you already knew, that 3 plus 4 is the same as 4 plus 3. Well, the property that says that that is true is the commutative property. Same thing for multiplication, right? 5 times 2 is the same as 2 times 5. Those are the exact same answer you get 10 for both of them. Okay? That's what's called the commutative property. You can switch the numbers around. So you have commutative property written on your paper. Below that, I want you to write, you're going to think cars. Right, this is kind of our clue for the commutative property. If you look at the word commutative, it has the word commute in it. Well, commute is the drive you have, from your home to your work, or from home to school for you guys here. Right? Well, when we drive, we think of driving cars. So you're going to think of cars. So we have some sets of cars down here. Right? In the one car, we have 4 people. In the car in front of it here, we have 3 people. If I add those two together, that'd be a total of 7 people. Now, if the car with 4 people moves ahead, now we're going to look at the drawing here. We're thinking cars, and we're going to look at a drawing of cars. This is what else you're going to copy down. So you're going to have commutative property up there, you're going to have the word cars, and then you're going to copy this drawing down here. So I have some cars. I have 4 people in one car, and I have 3 people in the other car. Well, in the commutative property, this car can move ahead of the other car. And move that one back there. And you can see now I have 3 people, and I have 4 people. There's still 7 people. It's just the one car passed the other. It moved around. Well, the commutative property tells me I can move the numbers. I can switch where the numbers are at, and I still get the same answer. That is the commutative property. We think cars because the numbers actually move. They move where they're at. The 4 was first, now the 4 is second. They move where they're at. If you need to pause it to get the rest of this drawn, you can pause the video as you're working here to finish up your drawings. I'm going to move forward. The associative property. So you're going to write this one down next. The associative property. And the mathematical definition here, and you don't have to copy these down, right, is A plus B in parentheses plus C equals A plus in parentheses B plus C. Right? And then the same thing with multiplication. Instead of the addition signs, you have the multiplication signs. I'm going to, as I show the picture, kind of explain how this all works. Okay? This is the associative property. So you're going to think here, this is one I learned from my students in teaching. She called this the law of girls, my cooperating teacher. The law of girls. Now I know this is not like the girls, hopefully in our class. Okay? This is kind of the girls that we portray in movies, right? The mean girls. Right? So we're going to have a picture here of some girls. Right? I have my girls here. The beautiful drawing. What happens here is, I'm going to use addition again. I have 5 plus 3 in a house together, right? 1 week, and they're talking about 7. Right? They're talking about 7. They're in their house, in their parentheses. Well, the next week, what happens with girls? 3's no longer friends with 5. She's over with 7 at 7's house, and they're talking bad about number 5. Right? Like I said, this is not the girls in our class, so we don't have to worry about that. This is kind of what's kind of portrayed by Hollywood. If we look at this problem, 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 7. Right? 8 plus 7 gives us 15. Over here, 3 plus 7 gives us 10. Solve the 5 over there. 5 plus 10 is 15. I get the same answer whether I add the 5 and 3 first, or if I add the 3 and the 7 first. So the associative properties kind of tell me that I can group the numbers how I want. I can add these 2 first, I can add these 2 first. The groupings do not matter. Notice the numbers stayed in the same order. 5, 3, 7. 5, 3, 7. The only difference was which one did I add first? Did I add the 5 and 3 or the 3 and 7? Nothing moves. Right? The cars move, which is the commutative. The associative is the groupings change. The parentheses change. If you need to continue to copy that down, the picture with the girls here in their house, you can pause the video and get that copied. And the third one we're going to learn today is the identity property. Now the identity property, right, is very simple. Once again, you knew this one already. Right? You know these properties. Okay? Identity, you're going to think, you do not change. Your identity is not going to change. Your identity is who you are. Right? So for the addition, once again, you want to copy this part, the mathematicals, A plus 0 equals A. A does not change when you add 0 to it. Multiplication, A times 1 still equals A. I can put any number in there, right? 64 times 1 is still 64. You do that. That was why 1s were the easiest ones for multiplication. Maybe 0. Then a little bit easier. But you do not change when you multiply by 1. Same thing when you add 0, right? 7,432 plus 0, well, that's easy. It's 7,432. It does not change, right? So the identity property you're thinking do not change. So you're going to copy down the word identity property. You're going to write under would, do not change. That's kind of our definition. And then you're going to copy the picture here for our identity property. Identity property, there's another picture, beautiful picture of people. This time the person's looking in the mirror. So if we have 8, right? Bonus 8, right? And we add 0 to her, she stays the same, right? If I add a hat to her, she'd look different. If I add, $1 million to her, she'd then be all rich. No, I'm adding nothing to 8, and 8 stays the same. If I multiplied 8 by 1, and she looks in the mirror, she's still the same. If I multiply her by 2, now all of a sudden she's identical twins, right? If I multiply by 3, we got triplets, right? And a lot of, stuff to go. And if I multiply her by 3, we now have triplets. Not just the 1, 8. We can add 0 to 8, we can multiply by 1, and it stays still the same 8. So for class tomorrow, you should have all these word definitions. For class tomorrow, you should then have the 3 different properties we went over today. What words were in the think box below it, and then the pictures below that. I will be checking those to make sure you have those items for all three of these properties. We will kind of talk about these and go over these a little bit more in class tomorrow. If you have any questions, you may ask them.